there's something about the way that a story can transfer trust and credibility. If you take a step back and you evaluate your life and the experiences that you've had and the things that you've seen, you can use a framework called the hero's journey framework. That's going to be the challenge that you face or that you saw somebody else face, the transformation that took place within you, and then what was the outcome. And just using that simple framework and writing it down and practicing it, like practice, that will help you to cultivate a story that you can share with the people that you're looking to serve.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Medicare Sales Playbook. I'm your host, Dallas Keithley. Man, you guys have been absolutely killing it when it comes to liking, commenting, all that stuff. Also showing up at these Medicare Sales Playbook boot camps. They have been a phenomenal success, and it's because of you. It's because of the fact you guys are showing up, showing out, showing off, all the showings. You guys are making it happen, and we really appreciate that. We are bringing you a very special guest today. I know I say that every time, but man, I don't believe in befriending people unless they are special. You know, I love talking to people that have something to give. I love talking to people that have something in their life that can help others, because that's our goal here. It's our goal to help you build your Medicare business one play at a time. And this dude has built a great business. So I'm going to bring him right in. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Tim Colson. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Dallas, I'm doing great. How are you?
Man, I'm talking to good people, and that's all I ask for. You know what I mean? So
you are living the dream, sir.
Absolutely living the dream. Here's the deal. We had Andrew Saul here recently, Mike Hall, all these guys with great hair. I've got to start talking to our guest, whoever's booking these guests.
Well, I was going to ask somebody if my hair was camera ready. So
listen, I have, not that I think about you waking up and getting out of bed, but I assume you just wake up and give it one of these, a good shake, and you're ready to roll. So that is awesome.
It's like a Pantene commercial.
Sure. I'm really wanting to switch topics right now, so we're going to do that. But man, Tim, tell us about yourself, about your business, where you're located, what you're doing, all that stuff, man.
So my name is Tim Colson. I'm the founder of the Tri-State Legacy Group. We originate in New York, but we serve the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania markets. We also have a footprint across the nation, but our main focus is the Tri-State, hence the name. And we are a retirement agency that is Medicare focused.
Nice. What do you mean by that when you say retirement agency, Medicare focused?
So my background is as a financial advisor. So I have a nice retirement background. But as my career has progressed and the agency has progressed, we decided to meet people that had a lot of questions about Medicare. So when I say Medicare focused, the way that we meet folks is mainly Medicare first, and then we will help them with their retirement planning.
Nice. So as you look into that, and those two things really hold hands, right?
They do.
If you're talking to someone, because I'm sure there's somebody listening here that is a retirement advisor and they're thinking about getting into Medicare, and this isn't the topic for the show, but this segment's brought to you by ADHD. If they're thinking about getting into some type of Medicare business, what are some tips that you would give them?
So the beautiful thing about Medicare is, as you know, 10,000 people turn 65 every day. So it's an endless supply of folks that are confused and that need our help. Medicare is also very educational focused. So if you can show that you understand the basics and you understand how to help that person get through that Medicare journey, then they're going to be more apt to allow you to help them with other areas of their retirement, such as income planning, long-term care planning, things of that nature. So for a retirement advisor that's thinking of getting into Medicare, I would encourage you just strongly to do so, because you're just going to come across people every day that need your services. And it puts you in an authoritative position to really help them out. So
right. And allows you, like you said, to be the authority in a couple different areas. And I imagine your retention is pretty good if you're helping them with both of those areas.
It is, yeah. So my retention, and I'm very proud of it, is 96.2%.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I really, honestly, the only market that I have to get a handle on is the dual special needs market. But other than that, like, we have a great retention. We have very happy clients, and they're more than willing to let us help them with other things.
If you figure out how to get the D-SNP market to a 96% retention rate, brother, you need to write a book or something. At least
I'm working on it.
I better be the first podcast that you come to and say, hey, Dallas, I figured it out. I like it. So, well, guys, I had the privilege of going to New York, helping Tim with some, actually, we did them in Pennsylvania, didn't we? The seminars that we did together.
So
it's been a minute.
It was on the Pennsylvania border in New Jersey. And I actually came and got to witness greatness, which was Dallas running a seminar. Dallas is fantastic at running seminars.
Thank you very much.
The way you captivate the room, but it was actually for another agent.
That's right. That's why I was trying to remember. I'm like, I know he's been there at a seminar, but that's right. It was for another agent.
But man, you did such a great job. And,
Thank you.
It gave me an opportunity to see what it looks like. This was years ago, but
yeah, it's been a couple of years. Yeah. I believe it was Lebanon, New Jersey, if I remember correctly, now that I'm going back through the old memory.
Sure was.
There.
It was like in a church. It was like on a church compound or something, I think.
Yeah. Compound being the right word, which, boys and girls, that's a show for another day. But one of the things that I noticed about you, Tim, is you are a great storyteller. And
thank you.
You're welcome. You take what you've been through, and you are able to, well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You can tell it's something that you work on. You can tell you're not doing it by accident. You're not using stories in your sales presentation, even in booking appointments, all that stuff. Why, what is it about stories? Why do you use stories to captivate an audience and to connect them, I guess?
I mean, the main reason is it creates relatability. So they understand that I understand their situation through experiences that I've had. And because I've been through those experiences myself with my parents and just with other clients, they're more apt to trust in me and know that I'm going to be able to help them navigate the journey. And ultimately, that's why I think storytelling is an amazing thing. I mean, early in my career, there was a book that I read, Story Selling for Financial Advisors. And it just talked about utilizing parables in your sales process. And for me, I love that stuff, shared experiences. So
you gave me a book. I don't know if you remember this. You sent me a book called The Gospel. I've read that a couple of times now. Yeah. And that's one of the things, not to get religious or anything here, but man, it's part of our lives. But
it is. Yes.
Jesus told through stories. He captivated people by sharing something that I love what you said. It's a shared experience, a common experience.
Yep.
People like to purchase or do business with someone that they have something in common with, a commonality.
Yeah.
Talk about how stories can engage that commonality and bring that out.
So, I mean, the story that I share most often, and I mean, like, not to jump into the religious part of it, but like, obviously, my faith is so important to me. It's like it's me. It's what I'm all about. But even just watching the Chosen, they have the new season that just came out, and they've gotten to the point where Christ is at the table with his disciples, and he's talking about how he's going to stop speaking to them in parables and begin speaking plainly to them, like being more direct. And just to touch on what you were talking about a second ago, I do think that teaching in parables, it does build that level of trust where you can be more direct with somebody. Because everything is there, that bridge is built. So once you get to the point that you need to be super direct with them, you can. Now, relatability and talking about stories, I share often the story of my mom and dad. So the reason I got into this business is not the reason I stayed in the business. I think a lot of times folks get into this because they see the income opportunity. Like there's a huge income earning opportunity in our business. But I often tell newer folks that the business doesn't really begin with you until you have that first death claim or that first claim, and you actually see the fruit of the labor in action. Unfortunately, my parents, about a year in, my dad had an injury. He was in a coma, and folks are more apt to not pass away immediately and live through a long-term care situation after an injury. So my dad actually lived for 5 years after that. But I just saw a lot of gaps, and it just reinvigorated and reinforced why I do what I do. And it gave me, even though the story hurt, inside it hurts to talk about my parents, it gave me an immense amount of purpose. So that does come across when I share stories at these seminars. And it starts to build that bridge. And then people are like, oh, wow, he's not the insurance guy that's banging the phone 45 times a day, cold calling me, trying to get me to switch from one plan to another. He actually does care about me, and he wants to make sure that that I don't end up the same way that his parents did. So, does
Yeah.
that answer your question? I think
it did. It did. Yeah. It makes you human.
Yes.
You're now a real live individual that has problems, that goes through things.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you're sharing your heart. You're sharing, like you said, it's not something that is fun to tell. And man, when you tell a story like that, it brings it up again. But I think one of the biggest things that I believe about the story, because we've all had troubles. Everybody on this earth. It's not.
You have a powerful story too.
Well, and I think we all do. I really do. And when I went through what I went through, there was a gentleman that I talked to a lot, and he said, Dallas, the worst thing that can happen from a trial in our life is that we don't learn from it and we don't share it with those that need to hear it.
Yep. 100%.
And there are people. So my dad, for example, still living healthy, all that stuff. If I went and tried to relate to somebody that was going through something with their parents, it's almost callous and rude for me to say, hey, I know what you're going through, because I don't.
Yeah.
Right. But you can relate to somebody like that much better than I can. Yeah. Because, seeing somebody that's gone through something, the person that I called first whenever I found out I was going to have to go through some stuff was someone I knew who had been through it.
Yeah.
Because he was somebody that showed me you can come out on the other side.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I want to talk about when you're talking about stories, mm-hmm. First of all, from your business standpoint, because we're all independent contractors.
Yeah.
You work by yourself there. I know you've got some agents underneath you and stuff, but for the majority, insurance agents can go through whole days where they don't see anybody else. Right. Yeah. What are some stories that help you or keep you, or is there a story that you're like, what, this is why I keep going?
Yeah. Yeah. So a few years ago, I had a pulmonary embolism, and I don't think I fully appreciated this career, this business. And I was able to come out the other side of it. And I fought very hard. Like, that's a whole nother podcast. I fought very hard to even be sitting here having this conversation with you today in this business, because I thought I was done. I thought I was cooked. And the store, on the days that are the roughest, I just remind myself, like, Tim, you're blessed. You have an opportunity in front of you to impact people in a positive fashion, leave a legacy for my family. And ultimately, I have freedom over my life. Like, nobody can take this away from me unless I take it away from myself. So I just try to remind myself of that every day, because that's the truth of it. It's hard. It's so hard. I just wrapped up a call earlier today with somebody coming on, and mm-hmm. they're brand new. They just graduated college. And I was honest. I was like, this is hard. There's going to be days where you want to quit, but just because you can verbalize it, but don't actually do it. Just don't quit. Just keep fighting. Like, take it day at a time and just do a couple things. Call Dallas, call your upline. Yeah. Call a buddy, like get a buddy in the industry. Like, just I don't know. Just keep fighting. Keep fighting.
I'm telling you, man, there's days this business, and my mom used to tell me when I was a kid that I was one of those kids that whatever I was doing, I was giving 100%. And that could be, you hear that and you're like, oh, that's encouraging. That's great. It's not. When I was throwing a fit, I was throwing a fit. When I was down, when I said I'm done, I was done. Right. Yeah. So I wasn't sitting here saying like, man, I gave 100% and everything. Whatever mood I was in, that's the mood that took over, Yep. And so it can be hard. And I'll tell you, man, I have had days where I said, okay, I'm either going to take a walk or quit. One of the two. Yeah. And I usually choose the walk, right? Yeah. Just go breathe and talk to somebody. And another thing you said there that I love, I had somebody recently that told me, hey man, you are here for a purpose. And my wife she's sending me devotionals every day saying, hey, we've been talking about purpose a lot. I don't know why, but lately in our life, that's been one of the key words. And so I started praying, God, help me. You woke me up today, right? There must be a reason. Help me to see it. Help me to see people. And that's something I've been praying every morning. And I'll tell you, my wife's like, well, do you think that God's putting more people in front of you? I said, I don't know that he is. I think he's just helping me see them. I think the people were always there, right? And so we're getting a tiny bit off topic, but I love it.
I mean, it's true. You have to pray for purpose. Like I do pray for purpose every day, and I'm not going to say that I fully understand the purpose every day. Like, on the hard days, I'm like, man, like you couldn't have made this a little easier for me today. But but I mean, you still, even in the hard times, you're blessed because you get to go through the hard times, and they forge another level within you when you go through those hard times. They just like make you appreciate something more, or they give you a different perspective, or they give you a different story to tell. Like that's something that's very important. Like you get to connect with a new level of people, everything that you go through.
Exactly. It shines a light on people. It shines a light like, okay, I get why this person is this way. Yep. And one of the mornings that I was sitting there, I got stuck in traffic, and I think I was in Atlanta, and Atlanta's just, wall to wall cars. And I was getting frustrated. And I mean, my thought was, and look at all these people, and every car has a story. Every person has a story. Like Dallas, you're not the only one stuck here. Every person has a story. So as we continue to talk about stories, you came up, I love, we were talking pre-show about how to develop your story. So there's somebody out there that's like, man, I don't have a story. First of all, bull caca, right? Like you have a story. Every person has a story. How can you tell somebody, how do you instruct them how to find their story and build their story?
Yeah. So for the person that's watching this that says, I don't have a story, that's okay. But somebody in your life has a story. And there's something about the way that a story can transfer trust and credibility. So early in my career, when I didn't have a story, there was a young lady that sat in the cubicle next to me. She was brand new. She had a client for 2 weeks. The client died 2 weeks after having life insurance issued, and the company paid it out. So you best believe I took that story and I told it to everybody that I could tell it to. So even if you think you don't have a story, that's fine. Borrow it from somebody else, a mentor, an upline, a YouTube video, a podcast. But if you take a step back and you evaluate your life and the experiences that you've had and the things that you've seen, you can use a framework called the hero's journey framework. Now, that's going to be the challenge that you faced or that you saw somebody else face, the transformation that took place within you, and then what was the outcome. And just using that simple framework and writing it down and practicing it, like practice, that will help you to cultivate a story that you can share with the people that you're looking to serve. You also have to understand who you want to serve and things like that. But if we're on a Medicare podcast, so I'm assuming that people listening are either in the Medicare space or looking to get there. So how can that story relate to the people that are in retirement on Medicare? And how can that show them that you can help them the best?
Can you, and this is putting you on the spot here. Can you give us an example, maybe one of your stories, how, break it down as to using the hero's journey there?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about my mom. And this is a story I share every single seminar. Talk about my mom. My mom passed in 2023. Here in New York, we have a special thing for Medicare supplements where you can get a Medicare supplement, guaranteed issue rights all the time. So my mom being very sick, I had her on a Medicare supplement. And my mom's last year on earth was pretty rough. She had a couple life-saving procedures. She had, she was in and out of skilled nursing care. She bounced around a few hospitals. But the only bill we got that year was for that Part B deductible. And we also got the bill that explained all the charges that would have been there had she not had that supplement. So that is a story that I share every single time to people. And some people have horror on their face at the end of it. because, we talk about how there was blood transfusions. We talk about the in and out of skilled nursing care, just like the horrors of, I guess, what she went through. But it really helps them understand that, like, I understand what they could potentially face down the road, and I've been there and I've helped mitigate it. So,
wow.
yeah. I hope that wasn't too deep for this podcast.
No, that was great, man. I appreciate you sharing that. I know, like I said, I know it's not easy to share.
Yeah, it's hard, but
another thing that stories do, they allow the legacy and the impact of those in the story to carry on. And when you talk about your mom like that, dude, it's crazy that through you, she is still helping people. She's still helping people as they, stories paint a picture. Stories put somebody in that situation and allow them to think, okay, if this happened to me, what would I want or what would I do? And so that's pretty crazy that your mom's still helping people.
Yeah, I mean, just through the act of, like, I guess, educating myself and leaning on you guys. I mean, Brian, you guys were a big part of me being in Medicare and, like, helping me understand that stuff. So, I mean, I was able to help her make good decisions, and here we are, I mean, now it is a story that impacts people. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Great stuff. So as you're going through the presentation, stuff like that, I've seen people, but part of storytelling, and boy, this is going to be the pot calling the kettle black here. One of my biggest challenges is telling too many stories. How do you watch the client, read your room, whatever it may be, and make sure that, yes, okay, I'm telling enough that they're engaged. Oh, I'm telling too many, they're starting to look at their watch.
Yeah. So my seminars, I mean, I think for me, I've just, like, tried to get a good process going. So, like, the first meeting with people, I try to keep it around an hour. And it's really like a get to know you session, like, where I'm getting to know you, you're getting to know me. The second appointment, like, we're doing something, and it's very succinct. It's like 30 minutes, like, in and out. But I think with my seminars in the beginning, I did suffer from what you talked about, whereas too many stories over a period of time. So just getting feedback from people, like, I'm not opposed to that. Like, hey, what did you think of the seminar? I do ask every person that I follow up with, like, what did you think? What were some things that you would have done differently, or would you like to have seen done differently? Topics you would have liked to seen less of? And I take that feedback, and I've just created it's a 45-minute presentation, and it's almost like automatic now. Like, I catch myself, like, when I'm in rhythm, and I'm like, oh wow, like, this is super automatic, and I'll, like, catch myself and make a joke about it. Then they all laugh. But I don't think you can have enough jokes. I don't think that you can have enough stories. They just have to be the right stories, and you have to, like, be clear and concise about it. I mean, the story I just shared about my mom, there's a little bit more that I put into it, but just for timing's sake today, I just, like, glossed over the main stuff. But they love jokes. Like, become a jokester. Joe Namath is, I joke on him all the time. I get a good response. So,
Smoking Joe, I think they're tired of him. But so, okay, as we close this out, you mentioned earlier, I want you to reiterate. So if there's somebody new, right, and they're looking to get into Medicare, maybe they just got their license and they're like, man, I don't have a story. You said use somebody else's. Are there some sites or anything that you go to that you've found great stories on?
Yeah. So shockingly enough, lifehappens.org. So for the last few years, I've actually been able to grade they do a scholarship for students that have lost parents and they didn't have life insurance. So every year I get like 40 or 50 applications, and I get to read through these stories. So you get a ton of stuff from that. If you go on the Life Happens website, there's tons of stories there. That's really where I would point people, or I would find someone in your area that's been doing it for a long time and offer to take them out to coffee and just say, hey, can you share some of your experiences with me? And there's nothing wrong with that, because you connect with people in your local region. So
I'll never forget a good buddy of ours, Hunter Palmer, was sharing with me. He said, he was a truck driver and had a lot of
the truck driver guy.
He's got a lot of different stories and talks about how he was injured and stuff like that. And he said, I was training a new recruit, and the recruit said, man, you use your story. He goes, I don't have a story. He said, well, just use mine.
Yeah.
And so the kid on the first call said, so there I was. I just had a big accident. So afterwards he said, no. When I say use mine, use me. Like, don't lie to people.
Yeah.
Use me as your talking point. So, but that's, again, I love, just to reiterate, how a story can pause. If you go in with just hey, here's what Medicare A and B does, and here's what it covers and doesn't cover, and here's this, here's that, you're basically just reading a manual to them. You're going to lose them. But that story can break up the conversation, bring them back in, let them know that you're human, connect with them in a way that they've connected. And so it's a powerful thing, man.
Yeah. And it sets you apart. I mean, that's the biggest thing. So your story nobody can compete with your story. And what you stand for is more important than what you sell. So those are two things to remember. Like, they make you very unique, and they're a gift. So share the gift with the world. Yeah.
Great. Well said, man. Very well said. So, okay, if people want to, let's say somebody's out there like, man, I would love to hear Tim present in a seminar, or I would love to just take Tim out to lunch or whatever. If they're in the pizza capital of the world is what I like to call it, but in the tri-state area there, what is the best way for somebody to reach you?
So the best way for someone to reach me is by cell via text, 845-235-6371, or you can catch me on Instagram at Tim Knows Medicare. Very simple.
Tim Knows Medicare. I love it, man. Yep. Well, Tim, great job as always. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, back at you. I love getting to know you, and you're always an encouragement to me. I can't say it. And so great stuff, man. Thanks for coming on.
Have a blessed day, man.
Thank you. Guys, as we wrap this one up, I hope that you were listening. I hope that you took some of that into your sales presentation. You have a story. You are brought into this. One of the things that drives me crazy with insurance agents is a lot of us, me included, feel like we have failed our way into the industry. In other words, we tried this, and it didn't work. So now we're insurance agents. You are here for a purpose. You are here to help people. You are here to show people peace and comfort in one of the biggest decisions in their life. I recently read the number one fear of seniors is running out of money too soon. Right up there with that was making the wrong health insurance decision. They polled seniors and they said that one of the number one fears, this was in front of death, which you would think, okay, it's got to be death and all this stuff. They're scared to death of making the wrong decision. You are here to help someone. You are here to give them peace of mind, to allow them to take care of their family, to allow them to have someone that's an expert in that field. So I hope you're taking advantage of that and telling your story. Thank you again for watching. Guys, go on MedicareSalesPlaybook.com. Find us at one of the Medicare Sales Playbook boot camps. We would love to meet you in person. Well, I would love to hear your story. I love when people come up and say, hey, I got a story for you. Man, I eat that up like crazy. So thank you again for watching. Thank you for Tim and his story. I appreciate him coming on. And so, Tim, we appreciate you, man. And we will see you next time on the Medicare Sales Playbook.